Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Saturday, the 12th of March. If, like me, you're following the war in Ukraine and wondering about what's going on, you probably also have been struck by the misinformation. There's stories of Russian soldiers taken captive who thought they were on maneuvers. Russia saying no conscripts are used, but they're conscripts that have been captured. The parents of the soldiers have no idea what they're doing. The people in Russia haven't even been told it's a war or an invasion. They're merely told special military operations. And it takes me back to apartheid days, where the government very carefully controlled the information so that misinformed people would not respond appropriately. And therefore, I believe the Russians are probably still supporting Putin and the government because they don't know what is happening. And now we see further misinformation where Putin's claiming that there are chemical weapons plants in the Ukraine. And many see this as a pretext for him to use chemical weapons. What do we believe? Because we know that the West invaded Kuwait, Iraq, saying there were weapons of mass destruction, and there weren't. They say there are no chemical weapons or chemical plants in the Ukraine, but then there are stories of people saying we need to protect those plants and not let them fall into Russian hands. So what do we believe? And that's a constant struggle we have, and it's a struggle not only in the world, but in our faith as well. And Paul, writing to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, one of the passages we read today with Robert Murray McShane, wrestles with the who is it that you believe and why? And he's challenging the false apostles that are coming, preaching a different gospel. And so he says in verse 12, and I will keep on doing what I am doing in order to cut the ground from under those who want an opportunity to be considered equal with us in the things they boast about. For such people are false apostles, deceitful workers, masquerading as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. It's not surprising then if his servants also masquerade as servants of righteousness. Their end will be what their actions deserve. And Paul is saying there are people that look the part, but they're not. And the same is true today in the church, in the Christian world. There are so many people that you look at and they look the part and they sound the part. And then you start listening to what they're saying and you realize actually this isn't the gospel. And Paul time and again points us back to the gospel. He says, if anyone preaches a Christ other than the one you've received, have nothing to do with them. Stand on the scriptures. You know that the scriptures have been given to us to make us wise for salvation. Jesus time and again referred back to the scriptures. When he is tempted, he relied on the scriptures. Have you not read, or says to Satan, it is written. So we have the scriptures, and that's what we stand on. And therefore, when people come as apostles, as preachers, as prophets, whatever they claim, we always measure them against the scriptures. And sometimes they will look the part and preach the gospel, and we celebrate with that. Sometimes they will look even better than the part and not preach the gospel at all, and we will avoid them. And sometimes there's people that look the part and preach sort of the gospel, but not the whole gospel. And therefore we have to be discerning as we listen to them. So as we wrestle with who do we believe the scriptures. That's what we stand on. And anybody that preaches anything, I say time and again, go back to the word. And if you don't see it written there, if it doesn't agree with what you read in the Bible, question it and have nothing to do with it. Just stand on the scriptures. That's where our strength is. And so as we go through life, we wrestle with who to believe in terms of the secular world, in terms of the war. And there are no easy answers there. In terms of the faith, there's so many voices. But fortunately, we have the voice of God in the pages of Scripture, and that we can rely on. Be encouraged by that truth.